Hello everyone, welcome to Homeschool Autism Life. My name is Jamie. Today's video, I wanted to talk about something that's been kind of rattling around in my head for a little while, discussing things that, our hopes and our dreams for our children. Yes, for our typically developing children, but more acutely our special needs children. And what we're reaching for, accepting, and what we're praying for. And those things have changed over the course of a journey, my journey, parenting an autistic child. So my son is now 16 years old. He is still not conversational. He has many words and an ability to explain what he likes and what he doesn't like, but can't converse in a grown-up typical 16-year-old way to his parents. And as time has gone on and you have to deal with the realities of what comes next, it changes how you view things like when he was younger. I always felt like I was reaching for acceptance, for understanding. I was always reaching for his possible best, the best that I could do for him. And in many ways it was, I just want the world for him and I'm going to give it to him no matter what I have to do to make that happen. And sometimes it's achievable, and sometimes you have to learn to accept that you're not a miracle worker, that no matter how hard you work, no matter how hard you strive for something, that goal may not be accomplished. And so what do I mean by that? I'll talk in specifics. So when we were dealing with the school system and the medical system, there was wave after wave of negative information coming towards us. And that was why I started this channel, was because I wanted there to be a different tone placed on it. Yes, you're going to have hard days. Yes, your family isn't going to look exactly like you pictured, but that is okay, and there's joy to be found in this journey. And I desperately wanted that because I didn't see that a lot when I was watching videos or listening to the experts on this particular topic. And so I spent a lot of time reaching and going, no, that's not, I'm not going to accept that that's the top shelf of what my son can accept just because you tell me that. And I still don't. I have accepted that there is a chance that he's not going to become typical, that I'm not going to be able to usurp the autistic tendencies that he has. I have had to, so one of the things that we chose was a program called the Autism Treatment Center of America, and they have a Sunrise program, and there are stories within the Sunrise program where they have achieved, their children have, come out of their own little world and have been able to achieve amazing things and been independent, and they might still have autism, but they're not in a place where autism inhibits them so much that they can't live a normal life, get married, have children, all of those things. And so that was kind of my reaching goal for him. And as time has gone on and I've seen more of his personality, I've realized that that goal may not happen, not only because we didn't find the Sunrise program or even have him diagnosed until he was 7 years old, but also that I don't have 8 hours a day to strictly do stuff with him. I needed to homeschool my girls for a variety of reasons, and there's just only so much of me to go around. Now, did that mean that he doesn't get that miracle of the Sunrise program? I don't think so. But I mean, who knows? If I had 8 hours a day to spend with him, maybe. But I've had to learn to accept that, yeah, there's only one of me. There's only one of me. And I have done the best that I can with the abilities, the energy, the time, all of that I have available to me. And so I do not bemuse that, but I had to accept a certain thing, that my son is extremely introverted, like his sister and his dad. And so the idea that he would then want to become this social butterfly and find meaning in conversation and whatever, when I saw him shrink away from people, not because he was not because he was afraid of them, but because he was like, this is just not my thing. uh, it was something that I had to recognize as, okay, maybe that's not the journey God has for him, and I have to accept that and be willing to go, okay, Lord, your will be done, right? And he also is somebody who is just like, he's content where he is, he's happy where he is. And so no matter the amount of pushing and prodding that I might do for him, it's not going to change the outcome. If he is happy in himself, I can push him, I need to push him, but only to a certain extent, and everything else is me reaching. And so reaching is not necessarily a bad thing when it is in check, and it's okay if it takes you a journey to actually get to where you want to be. I think that's been a really big key in my journey, is recognizing that. Now, does that mean I'm in the accepting phase and therefore I don't reach, or I don't have things that I pray for? Absolutely not. I still continually pray for things like, Lord, help him to be able to communicate clearly enough that when Colin and I are no longer able to look after him, or he finds himself in a position where he needs to be able to communicate, that God gives him the ability to do that. And the great thing about autistics is that when their brains become solidified, I think, I forget what the science is called for that, but there's like when they're 21 years old, their prefrontal cortex is all set. It's all good. And in autism and other neurological issues, that isn't actually triggered, and so they can learn and continue to learn well past a certain age. And one of the things that we have a fella in our town who is in his 60s, and he just graduated. He got his GED diploma, and I was so proud of him and excited for him, because again, it didn't stop him from continuing to learn and grow. And it's been wonderful to watch him, because his mom passed away many years ago, and God is sustaining him and continuing for him to continue to move forward. And I think that's awesome. So praying, believing that God will meet the need, but also not praying for the reaching stuff. I have had to learn that there's a vast difference between going, Lord, I trust you. You've entrusted me with this son, and you understand the way his brain works, and way better than I do. And so I'm trusting you to give me the inspiration to teach him what he needs to know. And some days it is significantly easier than others, I promise you. But at the same time, I choose to trust him, not only with my future, but with my son's future and my daughter's future. And so the reaching is under the hospice, if you will, or under the guidance of God's Holy Spirit, and going, where should my goals go? Where do I push for? What do I push for, and what do I pull back from? And I am so thankful that no, it's not a loud booming voice, and no, it's not a, step by step, this is what you should do next. It's a day by day surrendering and going, okay, Lord, this is the new situation we have before us. How do I proceed? And trusting that when you're doing the action of parenting and dealing, that He is showing you and guiding your hands and your mouth and your arms and all the things that you're doing. He is guiding you in a perfect way. And one day in heaven, there will be discussions about what were you doing, and where were you guiding me? What was, my initial response was to get angry there, and you pushed that anger back and you told me to deal with it in this way. And yeah, so do I still reach? Yes, I still want so much for my son. And yes, it's narrowed a little bit. When he was little, that reaching seemed so big, and so he could be a savant. He could be needing our care for the rest of his life. He could be a savant who still needs care for the rest of his life. Or he could be a sunrise person that, is able to overcome much of the pitfalls of autism. But it was so broad and so wide, and now it's slowly narrowed to a point where I'm like, okay, Lord, this feels more manageable, number one. Number two, it's still wide enough that I don't know 100% what he's going to need in life, and so I need that inspiration. The acceptance part, yes. I have accepted God's will for my life, because over and over and over again, I've seen that His way is always better than my way. I could give you many, many, many examples of that, but I look at it from the standpoint of, if He is the God of the universe who created everything and has a plan for every single person's life, including counting the hairs on our head, He is not going to steer me wrong. And so I accept His will for my life. I accept His will for my son's life. And as long as he is finding joy and contentment, it's not my job to say, that's not the life you should have. I should push for more. And then the praying part is the daily acceptance and prayer of, Lord, teach me, use me, mold me to be exactly what my son needs in this moment, so that he is prepared for the future. So all of those things go hand in hand, but as you can see, it's been a whole windy road down a tall mountain that I've been climbing. I should be going up with my hand gestures. But I just wanted to articulate that in a way, because I feel like even 2 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to articulate it as succinctly, if this is succinct in any way, shape, or form. But I wouldn't have been able to articulate that, the difference between accepting God's will and reaching for more. And then how do I pray for that? So again, if you struggle with this, because I've struggled with it, prayer, I have a huge respect for God's will, because it has been something that has colored every aspect of my life. And again, I could go into that if you are interested. Feel free to leave a comment down below if you are. But it's something that I've recognized it needs to be done, because God has all the cards and I have 4. So what right do I have to pray for this miracle or that miracle or whatever? Like, God may be using this in a way that I don't even see, in countries far, far away. I have no idea. And so what right do I have to ask? And I had a minister in a very emotional time in my life where he said, we ask not because we're wanting to change God's will, but because he asks us to. And so I pray believing and I pray asking, but I pray with the understanding that I'm okay if he says no. And that is sometimes a very hard pill to swallow, but at the same time, if you trust the Lord for your life, for your family's life, for the fact that he loves you so much and he will walk those passages of grief and pain with you, then you can rest assured that you can ask and be okay with the no, because he's going to walk you through that. So anyway, I hope that this made some sort of sense to somebody out there. I hope that it's something that was needed. Again, this channel is specifically for encouraging those with special needs or those who are homeschooling. And I always pray that the things that bumble around in my head are of God, and then when I articulate them to you, they are clear and concise and make sense to you, because there are times where I'm like, I don't know if that made sense. So I hope that you have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.